Okay, so February 29th started off at a peak here, and we have had a little bit of a downtrend the last week. And so I thought it would probably be a good time to do a short. So I got into short here, and I also put in a stop order up here because it has surpassed the peak that it had before. And this was a pretty bullish sign right here. So I really didn't want to be in a position longer than that if it decided to go up, which it did, and I got stopped out. So my first order, I lost 175. Then I decided that it was very bullish, and it looked like it was probably going to be turning. And if you look at the longer term charts, I do think it's got some room to move quite a bit. So I went ahead and got into a long position here, even though the MACD and the RSI are really high, which did not fail me. And I put in an order here. However, I had some connectivity issues and lost my Wi-Fi connection and had to go onto my phone in order to get out of this position. So I actually made, I think I ended up, I traded some more on my phone and I had to switch to another computer. Anyway, for the whole day, I ended up losing about $62.70. Okay, so I'm on a new computer. I had to set it up again, so you can see some things that I'm going to change later on the screen that I didn't normally have on my screen, the grids and stuff. Okay, so we're looking at a possible down leg here. It is uptrending today, but it's pretty slow, and I wasn't really sure which way it was going, but it did look like the MACD and everything looked like they would probably drop. So I did a short here, and it dropped down some more, looking good. And I put in an exit order here, but it didn't quite take yet. And there it took. So the first trade I made, 225. Kind of watching in a little bit, and decided that maybe another short would be good. It's just gaining momentum now here. And it does look like it's tipping over here. So there's reason to think that it would drop. Okay, so I did a short, and it went up a little bit here, but it did hit a resistance level, which it blew through there. And there I finally got rid of all my grids and everything. Kind of cleaned up my screen. So unfortunately, I am in a loss position here, which I waited out. It hit a plateau up here and then dropped back down. But that kind of tipped me off that it might be a more bullish day than I was expecting. So since we're kind of at a support level right here, which is like right here, I decided to do a reverse order, which is when you click it up here and it gives you a market order, not a limit. So I never know quite exactly where it's going to be taking. So I took it and it dropped back down a little bit more, unfortunately, but then completely recovered in pretty short order. So I'm basically at break even so far for the day. Kind of holding on to that long position thinking it might go up. And it was very, very slow this morning, all through this morning until 10 o'clock. And then all of a sudden we had a leg up and it went up very quickly. And I got out at the peak peak up here, and I made I think like 500 or something like that in just a few seconds. And then I waited for it to drop back down and get back to that support. And then I got into a long again, but probably was a little premature just looking at the MACD right there. It did kind of level out, so it wasn't it didn't really drop too far. I did put an exit order in at a pretty conservative place, which then took, which put me at 725, which I'm very happy with. That actually is my goal for the day, except for the fact that for the month of February, I really wanted to get to 108,000. So I'm like $600 short. So I'm kind of thinking that's doable. I can deal with that. Just make a couple more trades maybe. All right, so here I waited for it to drop back down and seemingly hit a support level and got into a long position. That was a bit premature because we had a drop, which then recovered very quickly. and I'm in a profitable position here. I think it's possible that it might get up to that point, but I didn't know if I really wanted to, put that much risk on the line. So I put in a stop order here to protect myself in case it dropped back down. And I can't remember which one took, but at any rate, I did well on that order. And here I thought it might drop back down to there, even though it's kind of bullish and uptrending. I thought maybe riding it down a little ways would work out for me. The MACD looked like it would behave, but it did not. So it went up. Probably shouldn't have made a trade counter to the trend like that. But sometimes it works out. So anyway, I am in a loss position here, waiting for a time that it might do a reverse. And I chose that point to be right here. And this time I did a limit order, so I know exactly where it's going to be reversing. And you can see this is where I got in down here. So this is a $450 loss on that last trade, which is not actually that big of a deal because that's about my limit right there. That's not a bad call. And it is uptrending, so I do want to be in a long position. I think this is not a bad place to get in. It did unfortunately drop down even further, so I could have held on a little bit longer, but just that amount of risk on the table was more than I wanted to take. So I a little bit of a loss position there, which then recovered very quickly, came up, and I have my exit order placed right there, which then took and put me less than $300 away from my goal for the day. So this is where I get myself into trouble a lot of the time because I'm just not patient and I try to make it up too quickly and I don't wait for the proper timing. However, it did break through that pink line, which has been the highest that it's been so far. And it actually came back down and bounced and recovered again. So I do think a long position, even at this high point up here, is not bad. I think it's got enough upward momentum. It probably won't go all in one leg, of course, but I think we have some more upward momentum before it drops. So I got into a long, and then it continued up and hit my exit order, and now I have met my goal. So I'm done for the day. You can see the trades that I've made here. None of them are bigger than I would have liked, both losses and gains. So I would say my trading today was good, even though I had 2 losses. Those are just kind of inevitable. Sometimes you just make the wrong call, and to recover from those is kind of the key. That's really what you want to be able to do. So I'm happy with my trading today. Thanks for joining me.